This passenger's bags were x-rayed by quarantine. They found a stash of cash which had been deliberately hidden. Now Customs is interested in him.
He's got a nice concealment there aboard, and it's been put on the bottom of his bag, so we'll probably get, I'll ring Oscar 1 and get him to sort that out because it's actual concealment. And we'll probably body frisk him, but I'm Yankee 2 Charlie if you need him.
While one officer does a background check, another continues the search of the bag.
This is a possible concealment of currency. It may be in excess of the $10,000 cash. 3,000 US, Aussie. We've got a lot of US dollars here.
We'll put the things back here, this bag. Okay, make sure nothing's there.
Attention all enforcement officers. Anyone in the vicinity of a Mandarin-speaking officer, Yankee 2 Charlie.
You got any more money inside? Cash? No, not at all? Dollars? Chinese?
Officers believe this man is hiding something. Their radar is up and routine checks are turning into something more.
How to open this one, sir? How to open?
就放录像带 ，OK。
我随便打 about 3,000
3天左右，我记不准了。
Officers try to work out just how much money is in the concealed wallet.
Can you get a conversion rate? Work out the conversion rate for the US dollars first.
不超过5天。
While the counting continues, there is another fear.
I'm concerned there's stuff on his body.
Yeah, what happened is...
We'll get to that. Now you asked him if he had anything on his body. He said no, didn't you? No. He said no?
No.
Oh, you haven't asked him?
He said no.
Yeah, no, he's definitely got something.
In the Northern Territory, crew from the Customs Marine Unit has just raised anchor from their Darwin Naval Base.
Anchor secure.
Roger that, thank you. Stand down.
The high-tech vessel is sailing off to take part in an operation, hoping to apprehend illegal Indonesian fishing boats poaching in our waters.
Just the high centre forward tank
This
level.
operation is a combined effort between several agencies. They are hoping to catch boats illegally fishing in Australian waters.
I guess what we're talking about is a fairly well-organised, sophisticated operation. There are about 14 more boats still there.
That's not to say that we won't react to any other threats to the border while we're out there. On this occasion, we're actually operating closely with the Navy vessels that also operate out of Darwin, and we're targeting specifically illegal fishing.
With reports of larger than usual numbers of boats out there, they are ready for anything.
What I want to do is, do you want to take a photo of this?
Passenger Lee has arrived in the country with cash hidden in his bags.
In the very bottom of it, underneath, there was a wallet, and as you can see, it's all taped up. So we're concerned that it might be over the $10,000 limit of cash that you can bring into Australia.
The amount of undeclared cash allowed into the country is $10,000. Officers think Mr. Lee might be hiding more.
We're also concerned that there may be a concealment on his body. He was asked by a Chinese-speaking officer if he had anything on his body, and there's quite significant bulges in his jacket.
Information has come back that they are dealing with a Chinese national who's an ex-policeman. Jono now wants a further chat with the passenger.
Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to take him to a room to get an interpreter.
An ex-cop, Passenger Lee has learnt some tricks and he knows the law. Mr. Lee is now refusing a frisk search.
So he's refused
He's refused that.
He's refused external.
Well, then I've said that it's going to be upgraded.
When a passenger refuses a frisk search, customs officers consult a justice of the peace who acts as a mediator.
I'm going to detain him for the purpose of an external search. He can maintain his rights, but if the justice of peace orders it and he still refuses, force will be used. Reasonable force will be used to remove his clothing.
Every day, hundreds of thousands of parcels are couriered all over the world. Most will pass through a customs inspection without a problem. Some won't. In Sydney, customs officers Lewis and Jane are investigating a suspect package.
We have teams that are at the courier depots and they x-ray cargo coming into the country, and while they were x-raying the cargo, it was sighted on the screen there. He was quite sure that there was something inside the package.
The documentation with the package says that it's been sent from England and is headed for an address in Sydney's west. It seems to be a coffee maker, but the X-ray is showing something organic inside the maker.
You want to stand it up? I want to get a second image of it.
And nothing organic has been declared.
Ah, beautiful, look at that. So that's a very good image, that one.
It may turn out to be something as innocent as coffee beans, but this package will need to be opened. About 250 nautical miles out of Darwin, the Morning Watch on Corio Bay have spotted a small vessel on their radar.
Pen ready there. We have a green coach house. We've identified it as an Indonesian Type 3 fishing vessel. From experience there, it's just a small shark fin boat.
As Craig gets the boat into position, the 6-man boarding party prepare to approach.
Yeah, roger, likewise, mate. Boarding party's been briefed and we'll be ready to go in a couple of minutes on your call, over.
This is potentially very dangerous. Right now, officers aren't sure what they might be confronted with. United Airlines Flight 863 from San Francisco has just landed, but one US passenger is yet to cross the border.
The situation is we have an American couple, reasonably elderly, arrived in Australia. The wife has her passport and has been immigration cleared, but the husband can't find his passport.
Glade has been refused entry until he or his wife can find the missing passport.
Your husband has lost his passport? I'm trying to take a seat over here and we'll sit down and have a look.
Flight 811, carousel 2.
Check everything. He's looked through all his bags and all the cabin luggage that you've had, and he can't find it anywhere. Now that's definitely yours?
This is where I keep my passport.
Okay. I've contacted the airline staff and they're going to have a look on the plane.
It's a legal requirement that you have a passport in order to be able to come through, because you have to be able to present satisfactory evidence of identity. He's unable to do that at the moment, so we have to be a little bit constructive about what we're going to do with this guy, or he's going to have to go all the way back to the States today. So I've got to ring the consul, see if they can confirm who he is.
Passenger Glade also has a new concern about his financial security.
They can use that to try to get into my bank accounts, I guess.
And without his passport, Glade could be turned back. His only hope of entry is for the United States consul to confirm his identity. By law, customs are allowed to open any package they suspect of carrying something illegal into the country. It's not a responsibility they take lightly.
So it's in the base. All I have to do is get it out, get access to that base, see if we can get the atomizer swab onto it, and we should get something positive out of it.
It's like unwrapping a present without tearing the paper.
Just have to make sure these tapes go back as close as possible to original, so it doesn't look like it's been tampered with too badly.
If the package is carrying something illegal, the federal police may decide to set up a controlled delivery to catch the smugglers red-handed. But to do that, the package must appear untouched.
Was it just going to a personal residence or a business address?
Personal residence, but yeah, looks a bit dodgy anyway.
That's it. And it's a sunbeam.
What I might try and do is see if we can get a swab the way around this area here, see if we can pick up some particles. And just under there. Our best chances around where the cracks are and where those holes are there.
Alrighty, just going to run this through and see if it has picked up any traces of narcotics. And as you can see on this, we've had a drugs detection for cocaine, which by that is quite a high reading.
Officers believe this ex-cop has more cash, but he's refusing a frisk search. As his family wait patiently for him, Mr. Lee isn't going anywhere.
Okay, what's happened so far is that we've wanted to do a frisk search on this passenger. He's refused to consent to the frisk search. So as part of that, the next step is he refuses, it gets upgraded to an external search. He has not agreed to an external search, so we get an independent witness in, which is Justice. So he comes in, he listens to our side of the story, listens to the passenger side of the story, and then he makes a decision whether search will go ahead or not.
We've taken Mr. Lai down to a baggage barrier where he's been examined, bag examination by customs 100%. During that examination, an amount of currency was located in one of his bags. The currency appeared to be concealed within one of those bags.
Nerves are frayed and it's tiring for all involved. The passenger has now been at the airport for 5 hours and customs officers have been on shift for nearly 13. Neither party is willing to relent.
Okay, Mr. Zhao, I have in the room a passenger by the name of Songshi Lee. Can you just explain to him that we're going to start recording and everything that's said in this room from here on end is going to be on video and audio?
Immigration officers are still investigating 72-year-old Glade, who's lost his passport.
I thought I still had it in my bag somewhere and I hadn't gone through everything.
Okay, I have an American citizen here travelling with his wife to Australia for a cruise holiday. Unfortunately, what has happened is he's lost his passport en route, and when he presented at the immigration line today, he was unable to show us a passport.
Peter makes a plea to the US consul on behalf of the passenger.
And he's quite distressed at the fact that his passport... Well, the fact that his passport is lost, I think, is concerning him greatly. I have his passport details, though, because he, with great foresight, happened to have a photocopy of the front page.
All I've got is copies. But
you can tell her it's frustrating.
It is frustrating. They did remind me to make a few copies of my passport.
And that's just as well, because Peter's got some good news.
It's all sorted. I've just spoken to a lovely lady at your consul, and she's confirmed everything that I needed to know.
Well, I appreciate that very much.
Not a problem, sir.
Well, thank you
You're
very much
welcome,
again.
Mr. Nielsen.
I appreciate
Anytime.
Glade's lost passport has been cancelled. He needs to get to the US consulate in Sydney as soon as possible so they can reissue him with a new passport. Meanwhile, on the waters north of Darwin, under the watchful eye of Skipper Craig and Superintendent Keith, the Corail Bay boarding crew climb onto the Indonesian fishing boat.
They are in the process of conducting the investigative boarding. They'll be looking for evidence of fishing that's actually occurring right now, or recent evidence that fishing has occurred.
It's basic seafaring, and they seem to know just where they were headed.
All the crew are from the same island in Indonesia. They didn't have any documentation or anything like that, or any sophisticated navigation equipment. They just had a compass. They've already said they were after sharks. That's why they were here.
On board, fisheries officers have found out the boat was after highly valuable shark fin, and so far they have pulled up 3 lines with small sharks attached to them.
They all came up without bait on them, and probably about half a dozen sharks altogether. We just cut them off and released the ones that were alive, and the ones that were dead were just thrown back in the water.
250 nautical miles out to sea, and with bad weather ahead, Keith and Craig grappled with the best way to deal with the situation.
That's about all I got for you, mate. We'll sit and wait and to hear from you.
Roger, ready to copy that? Boarding party 50 going. We have had contact from our shore-based mock. Decision is that we are to apprehend the vessel and tow it to Gove. Over.
Yeah, roger, no problems. Once we've finished hauling.
The 6-man Indonesian crew is brought on board the Corail Bay.
We're just doing a security check, checking for anything that may be used as a weapon. Any knives, razors, any sharp objects, things like that.
For health and safety reasons, the men will stay here on the outer deck under 24-hour watch.
We keep them outside. They're not allowed inside the vessel, so we keep a quarantine area for the crew, and hopefully avoid any contracting any diseases.
The seas are 2 metres and rising. Bad weather is ahead and drastic action is needed. The line is dragging and officers have found the rickety vessel is filling up with water.
We can't put people back on it because it's too dangerous. It's not safe. We can't put him back on it or his crew. And if no one pumps, the boat's going to sink.
Basically, what's happened is we've been approved to destroy the vessel. We're going out there now. We're going to lay some charges on it.
We want to get out of there before it goes up, obviously, and minimising any environmental damage.
Officers have doused the doomed boat with diesel and have thrown 2 incendiary flares on board, while the Indonesian fishermen look on in resignation.
The captain himself's a bit worried because the owner will not be very happy with the situation, but there's nothing that they can do about it, so they've basically resigned to the fact that now they're going to be taken back to Australia and will be dealt with by the courts there. So, but generally they're really well behaved and they've accepted their fate.
Back in Sydney, this coffee maker is either worth $50 or 2,000 times that much.
See this bulge there?
Yep.
It's not even actually flat. So just need to get the screwdrivers and get the bottom off.
Thanks. There we go. Thank you, baby.
Yes.
Bingo. Nice. Okay.
It's a good size. We just get one more swab of that.
Just want to have a look up in there.
And then we'll hand that over to the Federal Police.
Yep.
Okay.
As we have before, we've taken one just generally off the item. Now this time we're actually going to run it off the package that we found concealed inside the machine and see what reading this comes back for. And this time yet again, we've had another drugs detected reading for another very high reading of cocaine.
It's a good find for customs. Weighing in at just over 200 grams, this small package of cocaine could be worth as much as $100,000 on the street. Two days after being found 100 kilometres inside Australian waters, the crew of the illegal fishing boat are taken off the Corio Bay at Gove in the Gulf of Carpentaria. 3 crew members were sent home. The skipper and 1 crew member were charged with illegal fishing and fined. The skipper was fined $5,500. Meanwhile, in customs, after a concealment of $7,000 was found in his bags, officers want to do a body search of this passenger, but he still won't allow it.
Personal opinion is it's a bit unusual, in fact, for the time period. If he has got nothing, he could have been out of the airport 5.5 hours ago.
The passenger's still refusing the search, to comply with the search, so now the Justice is going to make a decision on whether he orders the search or not.
Unfortunately for this stubborn passenger, his time is up, because the Justice of the Peace has decided that Customs has the right to search him.
Mr. Lee has used all his legal rights up at this stage. He's been here for over 6 hours now. He's exhausted all his options, so he's pretty much run out. We've done as much as we can for him, so now the search is going to happen.
Has he got anything on his person?
我携带2万现金。
I have got 20,000 cash on me.
I must now caution Mr. Lee that he does not have to say or do anything, but anything he does say or do may be used in evidence.
As his family has been waiting for many hours, they will be told the grim news.
He's got 20 grand on him. Yeah. Right, so he's going to be referred to the AFP. Right, yep. So you can tell him that, tell them that he is here, but he's with us and we're still investigating.
Basically, if Mr. Lee had declared the currency on his way in to Australia, to customs. He would have been out of the airport now 7 hours ago.
It was really a battle of wills today. It was this gentleman trying to use the system and stop owning up to the fact that he had some currency not declared and concealed on his body. So his battle was to use the system as far as he could, and ours was to follow the procedures right to the end, and he took us to our limits and we took him to his.
There was a total of $7,000 in Mr. Lee's concealed wallet and a further $30,000 in his underwear. Mr. Lee pleaded guilty to failing to declare currency over $10,000. He was fined $2,000 and made to forfeit all the cash.
We've got 2 Japanese tourists coming in from Lord Howe Island tonight. On their way out to Japan, we've got information that they're smuggling out protected wildlife from Lord Howe Island, which can include fauna of any kind, snakes, birds, lizards, insects.
The tip-off came from police stationed on the island.
Oscar 1, Oscar 1.
We've got them under surveillance, we know where they are.
Satoru, that's him dashing to the toilet, and Hideshi spent 5 nights on Lord Howe. They had no credit cards and no local currency.
Now, the intention is to covertly examine the baggage down here in the baggage handling area so that we can examine the baggage without them knowing it.
We believe they're up checking in. We don't believe the bags have actually come down yet, so we're just hoping to catch them as they slide down the chute. Waiting.
If these guys have got wildlife, either they're collectors or it's for commercial purposes. If it's for commercial reasons, these things go for big money, $10,000, $100,000 even. Now, it's a criminal offence, so we take it very seriously and it can carry jail time.
At immigration, Deborah has triggered an alert on her way in from New Zealand.
She's coming back to Australia on a tourist visa, but she's overstayed previously.
You just take a seat over there, thanks.
So she may not be entitled to have that visa.
Deborah is a UK citizen.
Okay, what's the purpose of this trip into Australia?
What's the purpose of this trip? Yeah. My life is here. I have a boyfriend here. I want to sort out my sponsorship with the company that I was originally going to be sponsored by.
Now, you were granted an electronic tourist visa.
Yeah.
Where were you when that electronic visa was granted to you?
I was here in Australia.
Okay. How did you apply for that?
I went to see a lawyer.
Is he a migration agent?
Yeah.
Did he explain to you that to apply for an electronic tourist visa, you must be outside of Australia?
How he done it, I don't know. I was just happy it was getting done. Can I just ask what's actually going to happen now?
Well, a decision will be made as to whether this visa, this electronic visa you have, is cancelled. If a decision is made to cancel the visa, then yes, you'll be put on the first available flight back to the UK.
Can I have a cigarette?
No, I'm afraid not. There's no smoking anywhere inside the building. She has an Australian citizen boyfriend who we will attempt to contact. The visa that she has was obtained incorrectly while she was in the country, which she should not have been. At this stage, it could go either way.
That'll be it.
Satoru's bag has arrived, but Hideshi's still checking in.
8:45, flight leaves at 9:30. We'd like to covertly examine the baggage, but we're backed up against when the flight has to leave and holding up the flight.
I spoke to him, he said about 9:10 is the latest you can need the bags, so if there's nothing in there, we will have them back down to you by then.
So that bag need to be offloaded?
We don't know yet. We can't open it at the moment to examine it.
Yeah, well, departure time is 9:30.
The last guy's checked in on his bag, should be coming down now. Apparently he's the last guy on the flight. And we've run out of time to do a covert examination, so what we might do is, rather than physically examine him, we'll take him up and put him through the X-ray.
They let the first passenger go through, up to the plane, ready to depart. The second guy we're going to catch as he comes through and then go collect the first guy if we have time, just in case the first guy is trying to test the waters to see if we're actually watching and see if they're going to get searched.
Just looking for the geckos, lizards, any wildlife material network.
Do you have a telephone number for your boyfriend? Does he have a mobile?
I'll give you his work number.
Just got the contact details for the boyfriend, who I'll ring and just have a chat with him and just confirm the relationship. Good afternoon, Matthew. Hello, you there? My name's Alan. I'm an immigration officer at Sydney Airport. I'm having a chat with a lady. Yes, with Deborah. She's your partner. Okay. And how long have you known her?
Five full months we were together. We were talking about babies, money, houses, where we'd like to get married.
She's just travelled a short trip to New Zealand and returned. Do you know what the purpose of her return to Australia is?
She was coming back here to travel, but also to be legal in order to submit a further application for sponsorship into Australia.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. The relationship appears genuine. It's just a matter now of whether she is abusing the visa system or not.
Can I ask you again, are you carrying any drugs around your person?
Nelson, a traveller from South Africa, is being interrogated by customs officers.
Just giving you the opportunity, mate, before we take this further, that's all.
His wallet and luggage have already tested positive for traces of cocaine.
I'm not asking if, I'm asking when.
I don't use cocaine.
You've never used cocaine?
And then there was this. Grace, the Labrador, is trained to sit when she detects drugs. Nelson has some explaining to do.
You've seen the way the dog's reacted to you,
right,
which may indicate you have narcotics concealed on your body.
Well, the dog may have responded to leakage, which as he's inserted it, they have to clench to keep it concealed inside their bodies.
We just want to give you a pat down, just a frisk.
The other thing is if he's a user and he's been sweating, it's going to come out through the crotch, primarily where the pores are the most, so the sweat.
He said he hasn't been near any narcotics, so I've decided to test something that only he's touched, which is his toothbrush. He says no one else has been near his toothbrush, so I reckon hopefully we might get some sort of a positive reaction to cocaine here.
I think she's been a bit naive.
At immigration, Deborah's waiting to find out if she'll be allowed back into Australia.
Justin, Alan.
Her visa was issued illegally.
The situation is she has an Australian citizen boyfriend who I've just rung up. She's been living with him since last year. The ETA that she applied for, I'm sure, was done through a migration agent.
This immigration agent told me, and I asked him specifically the question, are you 100% certain she'll be, able to get back into Australia? And he says to me, I am 100% certain if she isn't, she'll be the first person ever not to be allowed in.
She knows it was granted while she was on shore.
She claims that she's unsure of the exact procedure, but I've tried to pin her down as to whether he knew she was going to remain in Australia.
But the only reason she's gone to New Zealand is to get another visa and continue what she's doing.
The trip to New Zealand was purely to reactivate the electronic visa.
But you knew she overstayed?
Yes.
I could have taken my clothes off. It would have been easier.
With Nelson maintaining his innocence, the toothbrush test comes in.
Got a nice high rating for cocaine again. So he's the only person that's near his toothbrush, he's the only person that's touched it.
He's not wearing underwear, he's not
wearing underwear.
No, there's nothing.
Not only has he been near cocaine, but he's been near it quite recently.
But they still don't know if he is simply a drug user or a smuggler.
Hang on, get the sole out. Just pull that out.
For Deborah, more shocking news. This time about her old visa, the one she overstayed by 4 months.
This migration agent, he should have explained it to you that there was a 3-year automatic exclusion period. Okay.
No one has told me this. I wouldn't be happy. I don't want to go for this. I find it really upsetting.
The letter that Deborah had received from immigration did state that she was subject to a 3-year exclusion period. The immigration agent was quite clear it wouldn't apply to a British subject.
I'm not enjoying this. Since September, my life has been up and down like that. I have a relationship here. I don't even know whether to continue or to finish. It's just everything is up in the air and I just want to get it sorted out once and for all. I would like to stay here.
We have my left shoulder and behind the big family at 56.
In departures, Haidishi is still under surveillance.
Just hang about here, his mate's in the queue, so... Okay.
Customs suspect our Japanese travellers are trying to smuggle out wildlife. The X-rays are inconclusive.
Go now.
One team in there, get it done quickly as we can, and then we'll reassess after that.
This one yours? This bag? Yes. Yes? I'm going to have a look inside the bag. These things are huge and very alive.
We've got quarantine coming up to make an appraisal to help us assess what they might be.
This one? 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 Two? Three?
No.
No more? Just one?
What we've got is a couple of Japanese guys went over to Lord Howe Island. They've acted in a way that in previous situations people have brought back CITES beetles and things and attempted to export them. And obviously you're not going to be able to identify them, but just maybe appraise what they could be.
They're just in larva form. It's pretty hard to tell what they are until they pupate into the adult form. I can't tell exactly what they are just from that.
Are there any pictures in there? Lord Howe Island pictures?
Is the answer hidden in Satoru's camera? With no drugs in Nelson's bags or clothes, there's just one more place to search.
I'm basically concerned he's either swallowed some coke or he stuffed it up his ass, basically. So
I had a good feel around. He's not wearing undies or nothing else.
Is he flexing at all with him?
His ass, yeah.
Yeah, well,
I couldn't go up that
take
far.
him into the room, mate. We'll pack him up.
I just spoke to my supervisor. What we're going to do is we're just going to take you to an interview room. There's a few more questions, obviously, I'd like to ask you, as I said to you before. And we'll go from there, all right?
Just this way. At present, we're assessing the gentleman for an internal examination, which is ultrasound at a hospital.
Behind closed doors, Nelson has suddenly become a lot less cooperative.
You don't seem like a bad guy. You've done everything I've asked you, and I've responded well back to you.
Right, I do respect that.
Right, but suddenly, when it comes to the end, you don't want to finish it. I think it's frustrating when the person keeps denying that he's got something. You really do basically get the shits with it, I suppose, because you think he's telling me a lie, and he just keeps sticking with it. You think something different, and in this case we do. We think he's loaded. We think he's got something inside him, but yet he's still saying no, I don't.
As he was trying to work it, I've actually missed it, and he was deleting a picture of some kind of bug or animal on the screen. There's actually birds, insects. Some of them actually look like they're live. Some look like pictures from museums.
Turn around.
He keeps saying to me, this one, this, which to my understanding means bad. Like he's done something bad, but he doesn't understand much beyond that. We're kind of just holding tight now until we can get an interpreter in.
Basically right now is the person's refused consent for an internal search.
He's trying to play the system, thinking that we'll just go give up. Doesn't happen that way.
I think right now he's looking for an out clause that he can get away with. There's not, and there won't be. The federal police are in there now, but he's just making it worse for himself the longer he goes on. I've never had a person refuse to sign and not have anything. It doesn't rub right. I think he's carrying something. I've got no doubt he's carrying something.
Nelson consented to an internal search 8 hours later. Medical staff scanned his abdomen. Over the next 9 hours, Nelson passed 76 pellets wrapped in tape. The pellets contained high-grade cocaine worth $629,000. Nelson said a man offered him $4,000 US to bring the cocaine into Australia.
Deborah, what I have here in front of me is called a notice of intention to consider cancelling. Now, that's not a notice that we're going to cancel your visa. It's simply a notice that we intend to consider cancelling.
Yeah.
Right, do you want to have a break?
No.
Want some water?
No, I'm fine.
She was incredibly disappointed. She felt that the whole world was more or less against her.
This is a legal procedure that I have to go through, okay? I will give you 10 minutes or more to consider a response to this notice, and then a decision will be made as to whether we cancel your visa.
Cancellation means a 3-year ban from Australia and goodbye to Matthew.
If the decision is made to cancel your visa, then you will be put on the first plane back to the UK.
This is ridiculous.
I asked whether I could go out there and see her, and the answer is quite simply no, because it's behind the line, which was really tough, which was really hard.
The situation is that she's breached the Migration Act, basically. And so we'll make a decision now as to sort of how far we go with it.
What are your views on this one?
The ETA has been granted unlawfully. She was onshore at the time of application, so that's an invalid grant.
And
she wouldn't have got the electronic visa if she'd have applied offshore, done the right thing.
And she also, is subject to a 3-year exclusion period.
That's right, she has to seek waiver and she has to have compelling, compassionate circumstances. Yeah.
She has a migration agent. She said he was involved in getting that visa. And then a few days after the visa was granted, she went to New Zealand.
Who issued it?
It says it was issued by this travel agency in New Zealand.
2 days ago. Okay. Can she explain that?
All she knows is that she went to a migration agent and he made all the arrangements.
Can you ask him where he got that from?
Lord Howe Island.
On Lord Howe Island. Okay.
In Departures, Satoru is trying to explain why he had larvae hidden in his tackle box.
What is his interest in these?
My interest was taking a picture of the native creatures.
Basically what Malcolm's trying to establish is, are these items protected, and if so, what would be the impact of having them removed, so that we can ascertain whether we're going to arrest and charge him or just seize the goods.
So unless you can identify what part of the island it comes from, you can't say that. Yeah.
If it's serious enough impact, the penalties can be anywhere up to 10 years in jail and $110,000.
Right. Could you ask him what he does in Japan for work?
I'm a builder.
A builder?
Yep.
And could you ask Mr. Fujimoto what he does?
Used car salesman.
Used car salesman, okay.
Best case scenario at the moment, he's going to spend an extra night in Sydney and fly out tomorrow.
Satoru and Hideshi were charged with attempting to export a regulated native specimen. The tackle box contained 21 staghorn larvae and 27 eggs, with a potential value of $48,000 to Japanese collectors. At trial, it was found that Satoru and Hideshi had used the larvae for fishing.
She needs to get really angry with this migration agent. And I want you to get the official complaint form so she can log a complaint. And if she needs to ring her boyfriend, I guess she can ring him too. There's always room for waiver because the jams people get themselves into, it's just amazing. You just can't believe how complicated people's lives become.
I'll come back in. I'll give you a few moments to compose yourself and think about what you want to say.
Deborah has one chance only of getting back into Australia.
If she comes up with something new, different, a good reason, the cancellation may not actually go through.